All right, let's animate this little guy. We got to find a name for this caterpillar, but for now, well, just the name of caterpillar, I guess. All right, shifter, let's add in a plane. And with this plane, we're going to hit us to scale it way, way up to something like that. All right, I'm going to hit 7 to go into top of you. I'm going to move the plane a little bit this way. And now we're going to do something called subdividing. I can't believe we haven't done this yet because it's actually pretty useful and a pretty common thing. If we had to have to go into edit mode, you see we only have 4 vertices to play with, and we want a lot more if we right-click. We have the option to subdivide, and you could see that that cuts our mesh in half and add the more vertices. Pretty sweet, but what's even sweeter, we could do it again. Right, click subdivide, and boom, we could subdivide again. Now, if you want to subdivide multiple times, you could go to the bottom left here and increase the number of cuts right here, just like that sweet. So what we're going to do is let's put the number of cuts to 10 and then right-click subdivide one more time so that we have that many subdivisions. Now we want to create a kind of hilly area as we're going to make this little caterpillar. We'll call him. We'll call him Ed the Caterpillar. So we're going to make this caterpillar go through the mountains and through holes in the dirt and the ground and through mountains over here. So let's create little hills. We're going to turn non-proportional editing with the oak and then just grab a random vertex, hit GZ, and increasing your influence with the mouse. We're just going to increase the influence. Let's do it again for another hill over here. And maybe another hill right there. And I'm just going to do it in the back right there, just like that. All right, sweet. With the selected now, I'm going to right-click shade smooth. Now we want to go ahead and create a bunch of holes everywhere for our caterpillar head right here to go in and out of and just have a blast. Kind of like a playground. All right, playground for caterpillars. That could be a thing. You guys know, like the ant hill thing will probably exist somewhere anyways. Sidetracking, let's go ahead and hit Shift A. The way we're going to do this is with a Boolean modifier, which is super cool, and we're going to add in the holes in that way. We're going to go to Mesh, and we're going to add in a cylinder. I'm going to hit our X90, or our Y90, sorry. And then right here, I'm going to go ahead, and I just want to make sure let's go in the front view. I want to make sure the hole that we're going to create is big enough for the head right there, which is the biggest part of the body. I'm going to hit delete on my numpad to zoom back in there, and you can see it's quite big enough. So that's cool. Next, what I'm going to do is hit SX, scale this up quite a bit just like that, and an RY90. Flip it back. I just want to make sure it was a good enough size where the head could fit through that. Now all I'm going to do is go ahead and put the cylinder. Let's put it right here, so that in the curve it's going to go in that hole. And we want to hit TABD, go into edit mode, and then Shift Deal to copy that cylinder. Now wherever we place C cylinders is where there's going to be holes punched into our floor. Yes, that violently punched into our floor just like that. I put one there. I'm going to hit Shift. Let's put another one right here. I'm going to hit, let's turn off proportional editing, okay? I'm going to hit R twice to rotate it like that so that it's going at that angle there. And again, it doesn't really matter how it is as long as it's punching through the mesh. I'm going to hit R twice, rotate that at that angle. They're shifty and I'm just placing them randomly. So go ahead and place randomly where you think your caterpillar is going to go in and out of the holes right here. And obviously right now they're not holes. It's more like spaghetti in our mesh. And I'm going to place another one right here and another one right there. All right. So now if something like that hits have to go back in object mode, and you could see we got a bunch of straws in our floor. Not really what we wanted. All right. But now if we select our ground floor, go to Add Modifier, we're going to select Boolean. Now, the Boolean modifier has 3 options as difference, intersect, and union, And depending on which one allows for you to either punch a hole or holes into your mesh, attach these as a part of the mesh object. So then you would have these little straws poking out of the floor, and they would all be one object. And those are two of the main uses for it. So right now, we're going to select the object, and the object is going to be this right here, which is cylinder. So we're going to select cylinder and boom. You could see very briefly through the wireframe that it's punched holes through there. And for this one, we are going to apply it. So if we click apply, we can then select our straws and hit X and delete, and you can see it's punched in holes in our mesh. How cool is that? Super cool. So there we go. Now what I'm going to do is hit Tab to go into edit mode. And I'm going to just note left, click Alt Shift left, click all of these. Vertices on the holes. So again, just Alt Shift left, click all the vertices on the holes. Sometimes you might go in and select a single vertex that didn't get selected. But basically, you want all the vertices, and you could see by punching it through, it's actually added in vertices. Now remember when I said you want all your meshes to have four faces? Well, the Boolean modifier definitely does not do that. But you want to do that, especially when something is going to be animated and deforming. And since our floor is not going to be animating or deforming, this is completely fine. Adding in mesh like this, all right, select the last of it. Oh no, we got one more hole like this one. All right, sweet. Now can you guess what we're going to do with this? Yep, you guessed it. Maybe we're going to E to extrude Z and just extrude them down on the Z axis like that. And so it looks like it's little tunnels right there. And boom, we got some reverse straws. Now we have one issue again, that nasty shading issue. So to fix this, we can do one of two things now to fix this kind of stuff. And you could actually see that right here. There's an issue right here where I forgot to select a vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and reselect that and do that again. Now, we can fix this of one of two ways. We could add in some geometry around it, which is very tricky right now because if we hit Control, we can't really add loop cuts around that, as you could see. We could add loop cuts around the base right here, which doesn't really do anything, but we could easily fix this by adding in an edge split modifier. So to add modifier edge split. And this has basically caused those nasty, if I dislike the screen icon right here will dislike the modifier. This is basically caused by nasty shading from the geometry, and with edge split, anything above this angle will basically be EDG split and recalculate the edges and the shading. And so it looks fine after that. And check that out. We have a bunch of holes around our floor, kind of like cheese. Actually, I think about it. We should have made a block of cheese on a caterpillar, go around a block of cheese, but that will be for next time. All right, let's select our path right here, and all we have to do now is go ahead and get hit Shift Z to get to grab on all the axes except the Z axis. And then I'm going to hit you to extrude, and I'm going to bring this down into the hole like that. And I'm going to bring this one up. So that's going up like that 7 to go into top view. Let's bring it up. I like that. Let's see what this gives us if we grab our caterpillar and Hagee X. How cool is that? Super cool. So with this, you kind of need to adjust it so that it goes high enough that the caterpillar goes above. Also, our caterpillar's in the ground. So let's light the ground altogether and Hagee and Z and bring it down so that our caterpillar is not in the ground. All right, let's like this GX. And now we could just leave it right there for now and actually select the curve. And grab the curve so that it fits exactly nicely with the hole. Now, of course, you're probably saying, Alex, couldn't we have made the hole a little bit bigger? Yeah, we could have. But I just think it's super cool that it fits just exactly in the hole like that. So look at that. That's pretty sweet. Now, when it starts to go down right here, it's probably not conforming to this, but we don't really care because we're not going to see any of that. Unless you plan to follow the caterpillar into the tunnel, then yeah, you can make the holes a little bit bigger and make it follow along with this. But right here, I'm actually going to cheat and just select this curve, and let's see what's the next hole we want. We want to make him go out of this hole right here. So I'm going to like that and either extrude. I was just going to make him cut through the underneath right here and not even go through the tunnel. Go right here to this tunnel. And then I'm going to make him go back up this tunnel to extrude. And then hitting 7 on the numpad, let's go right there. Boom. There we go. Another thing we could do is if you select 2 vertices on the path, we could click, and subdivide those to add in more geometry. And now we could select our Caterpillar Hagi X and move low, flying out. All right? We go to infinity and beyond. All right. Enough of that. Well, let's grab our caterpillar and bring them to about right here, where his head goes in, since his head is the biggest part of the body. Let's adjust this so that it conforms to the hole. Like that. Something like that, and if I had GX, you could see it flows nicely, all right? And then here, obviously, we want to eat the extrude, and we want to make him kind of jump out. And the next hole, where are we going after this? Ladies and gentlemen, let's go over here to this hole over here. So I'm going to make him go here and then onto the floor a little bit. And I'm going to speed it up soon, and just a second for the rest of the holes, because I don't think you need to see all the other holes as well. It's pretty much the same process. So right here. All right, there we go. That's pretty cool. However, we can see that he's in the ground. So make sure to bring the curve up enough so that he's not facing in the ground. And if we go like that, boom, there we go. Now you can see that we have an issue right here, and that is that he is completely rotated the wrong way. I think our little head right here got really dizzy going through the tunnels. I mean, God knows how he got from here to here, the space-time continuum or something. Now, the reason is because the curve through this process, through going the space-time continuum, got rotated. You could see, I mean, it's like this vertex, and hit delete on my numpad to zoom in there. You can see that the curve is now slightly twisted, which is not really good because then our poor Ed is twisted. Now we could easily turn a curve or twist a curve if we select one of the segments, hit Control-T, and that will allow for you to twist the curve. You could see that more. If I see like these two and had Control-T, you could see the arrows right here by hitting Control-T, they spin, and so it's turning the curve. So all we have to do if your curve ever gets twisted and your poor head finds himself upside down or something, just hit Control-T to twist the curve and make him straight again like that. All right, so let's take a look at all of that. I'm going to hit GX and play this on the X-axis. Let me go on to a different view because that's not working at GX. And boom, there you have it, sweet song and play from here. Grab that and move it along the X-axis. Look at that. All right. So for the next couple, I got quite a bit of holes. So for these next holes, I'm going to go ahead and speed it up and probably talk over the sped up version, especially if there's some good points. So let's get right to it. Okay, so I set this up by 8 times, so it's in super fast motion, but basically it's the same exact thing throughout all the holes. Just make sure that when he goes into a hole that the curve goes up enough. That way, his whole body goes into the curve, into the hole and not into the floor, and also hitting Control-T to make sure to twist the curve in the correct way. That way, He's not flipped on his side or upside down otherwise. Poor Ed. And then also another thing to make sure when he goes down, to make sure that goes down deep enough where he's facing down, downwards and not sideways. And of course you could hit right-click subdivide to add in subdivisions to your curve, but it's pretty much self-explanatory. Also went on the ground. Make sure that the curve that's going on the ground is high enough so that Ed does not go through the floor, but above it, as that's important as well. But you can see it's pretty fast, pretty easy. It might take you about, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, but it's fun to do. And Ed is going through all these little holes, so that's pretty much it. All right, there we go. Kind of looks like a crazy roller coaster. Look at that. So hope you had fun doing that. I was kind of interesting. I'm going to hit G's X and just bring it all the way back on the X-axis to the very beginning to right there. All right, now to animate this along here. And of course, we could tweak the curve a little bit more as we go, because right now I could see that this one kind of moved and it's going in the hole in the floor. But for now, let's hit eye location rotation scale on frame 1. Let's go ahead and go to frame 250 and then hit X, and just bring this along the X-axis all the way through this whole awesome roller coaster. As we look at this, how cool is that? Okay, so just keep bringing it all the way through to the very end, which for me is right there along eye location rotation scale. All right, moment of truth. Let's play this and see how cool it looks. I'm going to hit shift left area to go back to the beginning and space bar to play, and let's check it out. We sweat, look at our little caterpillar warm thing. Now this is cool. This could be, animation for a caterpillar or a worm going through an apple, some holes in an apple or something like that. So that's super awesome. Of course, we're not done yet. We still got quite a bit to do with this as far as adding materials, textures, and much more. But so far, so good. This is pretty cool. I'm going to fix this one right here quickly and just select that right there and bring that over there. And it looks even cooler if we select the curve and hit HH is to hide stuff. So we can hide the curve with the key and then play it. And without the curve being shown, it looks even cooler because now it looks like it's not following along a curve. Let's see what it looks like from underneath. I'm just curious. Caterpillar is going through time and space now, of course, like I said. If you were to animate for me, I know the camera angle is only going to be up here. So there's no point for me to actually model the bottom portion of it. A lot of animation is trickery. So, again, there's no point of connecting these tunnels together and making it actually connected and all that. If you're never going to see it now, if you're going to see it, I would absolutely connect all these tunnels together. But that's pretty much it for that part. We could hit Alt-EH, which unhide your objects to unhide our curve, and I will see you in the next part of this video. Now for now, over.